We start with Fiona Green, an illegitimate child of a count who had a miserable childhood. But she showed talent in magic as she grew, later becoming a renowned mage. She was your typical heroine. However, Fiona can never become the heroine. Count Green, Fiona's father, taps his cane. "Fiona, are you listening to me?" Fiona jolts, startled. "Forgive me, father," she says. "How rude of you, child," he replies. Dell, Count Green's oldest son, smirks. "Don't let the lowborn wretch upset you, father," he says. Fiona's internally screaming, "He's just asking for it, isn't he?" No matter how badly they mistreat her, she has to endure it all. Fiona is barely 13 years old right now. She is a helpless, illegitimate daughter who's a thorn in everyone's side. She thinks that's right. And I have become Fiona Green. Her family may think of her as a nuisance right now, but in the future, Fiona becomes a genius mage praised by all. Still, her becoming Fiona Green isn't a good thing. That's because Fiona isn't the heroine, but the final boss. On top of that, she's destined to die an epic death thanks to the hero and heroine's power of love. It's kinda sad, but that's how this story will end. The Emperor and the Saint was a love story about an emperor and a female saint who saved the world. In this novel, the world showed no mercy for the villainous Fiona. Near the end of the book, Fiona became close to becoming an immortal, putting the main couple in danger. The hero decapitated Fiona, pulled out her still-beating heart, and pierced it with his sword. Fiona's head was hung on the castle walls for all to see, and her remains were burnt to a crisp. Fiona's soul was then cast into darkness, where she suffered for all eternity. This is Fiona's fate, and thus, our protagonist's possible future. If she died now, she might be able to go peacefully. She thinks, "No, I need to stop thinking about this." She'll get caned for not paying attention again. "I'm sure you all know that the situation out on the war front is very bleak," Count Green announces at dinner. He continues while having a cup of tea. "His Majesty has the order to the northern front lines, from our family." Hearing this, everyone in the room gets shocked. Fiona thinks the original story will begin in 6 years. Right now, the Empire has been greatly weakened from battling demonic monsters. Of course, this was just the author's way of paving the path for the hero and heroine to save the world from the evil dragon and monsters, but this is the reality that she must face right now. Count Green said, therefore, "One of you must go to the northern front." Zen stands shocked and asked, "Father, are you asking us to join the war?" Fiona's sister mumbled, "My word." Fiona thinks House Green is known as a family of mages within the Empire, so it makes sense for the Emperor to request a mage from our family. The question is, who will go fight in the war? Count asked, "I would like to know if any of you would like to volunteer for this honorable task." Fiona's sister glanced at Dell while he sat silent. Then he hits Fiona with his elbow. Dell smirks. "You should go, vermin," he suggests. She thinks, "Every child in this family was born from the Countess except me." Fiona thinks to herself, "I'm sure they all want the useless bastard to go in their stead. Even if that bastard is only 13 years old." Dell grabs Fiona's hand. "Father, our youngest has courageously agreed to volunteer," he announces. "She's just too shy to say it." "Wait," Fiona cries. Dell smirks. "Why, you little?" Count Green beams. "Oh, I see. So, you'd like to volunteer." Fiona thinks, like father, like son, huh? Maybe they're in on this together. Fiona snatches her arm while Dell said, "It's an honorable position representing our family. You should be thankful that such an opportunity was given to a lowly wretch like you." Fiona's sister interjects, "He's right, Fiona. Dell must carry on the family name, and I will be getting married soon. And Zen is about to be engaged. It would be best if you went." Fiona's thoughts race. "All of you said that I don't deserve to learn magic because I'm a bastard. You even locked me up in the attic on a daily basis. Thankfully, I do know the basics of magic." She remembers the servants who mistreated her. Well, it's not like I had a choice in the matter from the start. Nobody is on her side in this manner. Fiona was just a side character. The only thing the novel mentioned about her past was she was always mistreated by her family for being a bastard child. "Very well," Fiona says. "I'll go." Even if she kills them all, she'll only end up in prison. If she has no choice, she'd rather go of her own volition. Count Green laughs. "Yes, you've made the right choice. I'm so proud of you. It looks like raising you in this house was worth it. So this was why they invited me to the family dinner, Fiona realizes. Usually, they would lock me up in the attic like an animal. She starts crying. I don't think I felt this sad when I entered Fiona's body a year ago. I wonder if Fiona, the original antagonist of this story, felt this way too. Having never been loved by anyone in her life, Fiona resented the world. Ultimately, she made a bad decision and went down a path she could never return from. Unlike Fiona, however, I don't hate anyone here. She opens the door to leave while thinking, that's because this world is my very own creation. The howling winds of the north sweep over the imposing gates of Duke Abel Heylon's castle. Fiona, small and vulnerable against the backdrop of the fortress, thinks this must be Duke Heylon's castle. The air crackles with an almost palpable force. What an incredibly strong presence. She muses, each step echoing in the vast halls. Jaren leads the way, his expression unreadable. After being pushed out by my family, I finally arrived at the northern front, which was ruled by the ruthless Duke Heylon. This place feels more like the castle of an evil overlord, Fiona thinks, a growing sense of dread creeping in. Ugh, I think I dug my own grave. Jaren turns to her, offering a curt this way. They reach massive doors, dwarfing Fiona. Jaren commands, open the doors. The doors creak open. Fiona's eyes widen in amazement. They're so huge. And there he is, Abel Heylon, the Duke of the North, seated on his throne. I was told a new mage would be coming to help us, he said, his gaze scrutinizing Fiona. Who is this scrawny child? Fiona remembers. That's Abel Heylon. He will later become Siegren's mentor. She also recalls, as the male lead's ally, he was very popular with the readers. The only problem is that he was only kind to the main character and his friends. Fiona watches Abel. He's much younger than he was in the original novel right now. So this must be him during his prime. She bows, introducing herself. Your Grace, my name is Fiona Green. Abel turns to Jaren, a hint of irritation in his voice. What is the meaning of this, Jaren? Jaren explains. Count Green said he was going to send a mage from his direct lineage. Abel's face darkens. And he sends us this tiny little girl, he shouts. It appears that the Count took me for a fool. He stands abruptly. Once this godforsaken war is over, I'll go destroy the Green Domain first. Fiona is terrified. Father, we're doomed. The strongest Duke of the North is super angry now. But then she realizes, wait, I'm in bigger trouble than my family right now. She begs, please stop glaring at me. Abel approaches her, his imposing figure looming over her. You there, he says, his blue eyes piercing. I want you to explain to me why Count Green sent a young child like you. Are there no other able-bodied individuals in your family? Fiona explains, my oldest brother has to carry on the family name, my oldest sister will soon be married, and my second oldest brother is also about to be engaged. So I, the youngest, was sent instead. Jaren thinks, oh dear. Abel scoffs. Huh. Those Greens treat war as if it's a children's game. He sighs. I think I understand what's going on here. He looks down at Fiona. I'm sure it took courage to come here, but we don't need children like you. Go back home. Fiona stares back, her red eyes burning with determination. Is he saying that I'm a waste of time? She thinks. I'm sure Abel doesn't know this, but there's nowhere for me to go back to. She remembers, in the novel, Fiona wasn't aware of her talent for magic and was cast out of both House Green and House Heylon. The pain of being abandoned by everyone in the world was what later sent her down the dark path of villainy. She clenched her hand, but unlike the original Fiona, I know that right now, I have overwhelming talent. She straightens her shoulders, calling out, please, Your Grace. I have something to tell you. She thinks I cannot obey your order. Skilled mages are treated with respect wherever they go. It'd be better for me to prove my worth and build a name for myself here than get kicked out onto the streets. Once the male lead appears, the war will die down anyway. I just need to hang on till then while saving up money, and then escape my dreadful fate by moving to the countryside for that rural tranquility. She shouts, I'm not going back. She steps forward, her voice firm. However, I won't ask you to just let me stay here. All I ask is that you give me a chance to prove myself. Abel raises an eyebrow, his expression skeptical. A child like you? Are you saying you'll do housework? Fiona retorts, no. I want you to let me fight as a mage on the battlefield. I will show you that I can help you win this war. Fiona boldly declares, I will show you that I can help you win this war. Duke Abel Heylon, with Siegren standing behind him, remains unimpressed. As Fiona stands before Duke Abel, she can't help but feel a bad premonition. She internally panics, wondering, what if he says, "What are you saying, you impudent child," and kicks me out? Duke Abel reaches out, and a nervous Fiona looks up at him. With a smile, Duke Abel says, "Is that so? That's the funniest thing I've heard recently. I enjoyed your little joke, child." Fiona thinks to herself, "Joke?" Before Duke Abel continues, "All right, I'll give you a chance. Show me what you're worth." A blizzard rages as Siegren returns to Duke Abel. Bowing respectfully, Siegren says, "I've returned, Your Grace." Duke Abel asks, "And the child?" Siegren replies, "I showed her to her room." Duke Abel muses, "She was incredibly arrogant and audacious. Prove herself," she said. Tapping his fingers, he then asks Siegren, "What is your opinion of her, Siegren?" Siegren responds, "She seems clever for a child her age. However, she is still a child." In a flashback, we see Fiona marveling at her new room. "This is my room? This is way better than an attic." Back in the present, Duke Abel and Siegren continue their conversation. "Are you really thinking of letting her fight on the battlefield?" Siegren asks, concerned. Duke Abel replies, "Yes, she volunteered, after all. I'll send her to the second rampart in 2 days." Siegren is shocked. "Your Grace, the second rampart is crawling with demonic monsters. It's the most dangerous place on the front lines." Duke Abel calmly says, "There's no need to worry. I'm going with her." A surprised Siegren asks, "You are?" Duke Abel, gazing out the window, simply replies, "Yes. If she proves to be useless, I'll feed her to the beasts myself." Fiona flops onto her bed, exhausted. He was so intimidating. She internally cries, "I can't believe I'm scared of my own creation. This is so sad." But she quickly shakes it off. "Let's think about going to war and whatnot later. I need to get some rest first. I'm completely worn out. I can't do anything more." The next day, a carriage pulls up to the castle gates. Duke Abel, seated on his horse next to Fiona's carriage, says, "Listen, child. The time has come for you to prove your worth." Fiona thinks seriously. "I created him and all, but he's got nothing going for him other than his looks." Aloud, she responds, "Yes, Your Grace." Duke Abel, with a smirk, asks, "Aren't you scared?" Fiona replies, "There's no point in being scared now." In her mind, she thinks, to be honest, I'd be lying if I said I'm not scared at all. I'm from the 21st century, and now I have to fight monsters. But when I think about Fiona's future, I don't have a choice. Duke Abel says ominously, "I will not be there to protect you, which means you could die." Fiona replies, "It doesn't matter. I'm not afraid of death. What I fear the most is a future without hopes and dreams. No matter how I die in the present, it would be far better than having my soul suffer for eternity." She internally cries, "Of all the characters, why did I have to be reborn as Fiona? A non-significant role would have sufficed." The bells of the second rampart ring, signaling the impending battle. "It's the demonic monsters," a soldier shouts. "All soldiers, get into position." Fiona, standing next to Duke Abel, thinks he's joking, right? Duke Abel smiles, "We came just in time, child. Now, let's see what you can do." Fiona steels herself. "I need to prove that I can be of use right now." Soldiers shout, "Hurry. They're getting close. Don't be afraid to die." Fiona thinks, "But how?" She said, "I'm going up the top of the wall." She then dashed up the stairs thinking, "This is my first time here, so I should see what the battlefield is like." The Duke follows her while she thinks, although I described it in my writing before. That's not the same as seeing something with my own eyes. She stands on the wall and seeing the battlefield for the first time, is overwhelmed. Duke Abel asks, "So, what's it like seeing a battlefield for the first time?" The scene is chaotic, with soldiers and monsters clashing. A soldier cries, "Burn the beasts so they can't regenerate." Another screams in agony as he's attacked. Fiona, visibly shaken, clutches her hand. This is terrible. She thinks, what made me feel terrible wasn't the sight of the battlefield. It was the fact that I was the one responsible for it. This wasn't what I had imagined at all. I didn't mean to make things like this. Duke Abel, observing Fiona's distress, says, "You must be scared stiff. If you finally realized how foolish you were, you may turn back and leave." But Fiona firmly says no. Focusing her energy, she thinks, "I'm the one who created this mess. I need to take responsibility for it." Fiona declares, "I will begin now." What defines a good mage? Apparently, efficiency is key. I can feel the gentle flow of mana. This is the first time I've used such powerful magic with Fiona's body. The only thing I can do now is trust Fiona's ability. Meanwhile, Duke Abel Heylon looks up at the sky. Is a storm coming? She thinks it looks similar, but it's a bit different. She clenches her fist. What I want is this. And then the storm hits. Monsters roar and lightning strikes. Soldiers panic. Then boom. The monster fell on the ground as Duke Abel Heylon watches with a flash of blue in his eyes. More lightning crashes down and monsters are thrown back. Fiona stood, her eyes glowing. Phew. Duke Abel Heylon chuckles. What a surprise. He lifts her up. You looked just like a god carrying out divine retribution. I have never seen a mage as powerful as you. Are you even human, child? Fiona, perched in his arms, retorts, of course I am. She thinks, to tell you the truth, I'm the future final boss of this story. Duke Abel Heylon smiles slightly. Yes, of course you are. He steps closer to the edge of the rampart, causing it to crumble. Fiona shudders. Just a few more steps and we'll plummet to our deaths. He's not going to throw me down there because he thinks I wasn't good enough, is he? But then, Duke Abel Heylon observes, look, the beasts are retreating. Fiona peers over his shoulder, surprised. Huh? You're right. She thinks the wolves are indeed running away. Wow. This is the first time I've accomplished something in this world. Looking up, she notices the soldiers staring. Huh? Are the soldiers looking at me? She waves shyly. Haha. It's a bit embarrassing to be up here in the Duke's arms. But the soldiers are cheering. Hurrah! Long live the mage. Fiona beams. Thank you. You saved our lives. She turns to Duke Abel Heylon, her eyes sparkling. Does this mean I pass? A faint smile plays on his lips as he sets her down. Welcome to Heylon, Fiona. He pats her head, and Fiona's overjoyed. Abel acknowledged me. It's an honor. She smiles brightly. It's an honor. She suddenly realizes, wait, did he just say Fiona? That's the first time he's called me by my name. He knew my name, but called me child all this time. She thinks mischievously, I'll get you back for this. 1 month later, Fiona is being showered with affection. Lady Fiona. The servants adore her. Have some of these. This too. Fiona is happy. Thank you. She thinks, the servants here call me the young prodigy mage. I guess they were impressed by how I struck down the monsters at the second rampart with lightning. There aren't any other children in the castle, so everyone adores me. Even Abel. Duke Abel Heylon instructing a servant, she's too small for a 10-year-old. Feed her so that she will grow. Fiona thinks, after he gave that special order, there wasn't a day I didn't have my pockets stuffed with snacks. I'm so happy. Her pockets are literally overflowing with treats. Oh, it's Jaren. Fiona notices him walking by, weighed down by paperwork. Judging by his zombie-like state, Abel must have given him more work. Per Jaren. She calls out, have some candy, Jaren. Tired Jaren replies, oh, thank you. Fiona asks, where are you going? He answers, I'm going to the 4th rampart. I heard there was an attack this morning. Fiona's expression darkens. Oh, she thinks day and night. The monsters have been trying to invade these lands. Things have gotten better at the 2nd rampart since I stood guard, but other places haven't been as lucky. I can't believe that this happens for 6 years before the start of the original story. She insists, let me go with you, just in case. Jaren turns to her, surprised. Are you sure about that? Fiona replies cheerfully, I'll be fine. Fiona remembers, gasp. Jaren must have remembered how scared I was after seeing a dead monster. I wasn't so afraid when I saw it from afar, but seeing it up close made me freak. A flashback shows Fiona trailing after Duke Abel Heylon and then being hoisted up into his arms. So, I have been following Abel around ever since. Jaren asks, then can you promise me you won't tell his grace? Fiona confidently replies, of course. Abel doesn't like it when others impose on me. Jaren smiles. Okay then, let's go. Fiona cheers. Yay! But as they reach the 4th rampart, the situation is dire. We need fire over here too. The scene is one of carnage. Hurry! Captain, we need more men. Damn it. When will the reinforcements get here? A soldier lies injured. Lady Fiona of Count Green will be here soon. Fiona rides along with Jaren, surveying the aftermath of the battle. A soldier salutes. Reporting, sir. We are currently clearing the bodies from this morning's attack. He states that they are clearing the bodies, as Jaren asks, how many casualties were there? Fiona watches the grim scene unfold. Sparks fly everywhere, the smell of burning flesh filling the air. I've gotten used to the horrific scenes of battle now. She went downstairs as the Solider asks, do you need any more tools? Other replies, oh yes, we need a wheelbarrow, firewood, and… She thinks, with everything going on, I can't just stand around and do nothing. A soldier exclaims, it's Lady Fiona. Another asks the mage. Fiona smiles gently and says, let me help you burn the bodies. She closes her eyes, focusing. First, I need to focus and feel the power of mana. A bright light emanates from her hands. Did you see that? I'll take care of this area. A fire blazes. A soldier is awestruck. That was amazing. Another says, then we'll go work over there. His comrade responds, okay. Later, Fiona narrates, I burned the bodies of the beasts, one after another. She sighs, phew, there's no end to this. She thinks, let's see, the next one I have to burn is. She stops, seeing a body. She gasps, it's a boy. Kneeling down, Fiona observes, he must have been around my age. From what he's wearing, I don't think he was a soldier. Maybe he was a mercenary. She clasps her hands together. May you rest in peace. She thinks I might be an adult in a child's body, but I'm still alive. This boy wasn't able to survive. Suddenly, the boy groans Yug. Fiona screams, AAH, tripping over him. She wonders, is he one of the undead? Then she realizes, EW. A corpse is talking. This really is a fantasy world. Oh, wait, that's not important now. This boy is still alive. She yells, somebody help. We have a survivor over here. She checks the boy. He has an abdominal wound. Fiona decides, I should probably turn him around so he's on his back. She struggles and groan. Finally there. The boy opens his eyes. Fiona realizes he opened his eyes. He's conscious. She taps his cheek. Can you hear me? You're going to be okay. Stay with me, okay? He weakly asks, who are you? Fiona thinks, there we go. He's pretty much awake. He may be able to survive. She thinks anyhow, he has a really pretty face. He would be quite beautiful if he was healthier. She wonders, what is this boy doing here? I've never seen him before, but for some reason, he feels really familiar. Suddenly, a giant foot stomps down. Kaboom! The boy shouts, behind Y dash. A soldier yells, get back, Lady Fiona. Fiona is startled. Huh? A hand grabs her arm. The boy grabs her away right before the giant hand was about to hit her. The soldier shouts, are you all right, Lady Fiona? This monster survived. Get ready to attack. Fiona thinks, the giant was directly aiming at me. If this boy hadn't pulled me over, I would have died. I thought all the monsters were dead. One must have managed to pull through. She sits up, remembering. What do I do? His injury must have gotten worse from rolling on the ground while saving me. I can't carry him out of this place alone. The giant raises its fist to strike again. The soldier yells, be prepared to attack again. The giant's fist descends. Lady Fiona. Fiona grits her teeth and raises her hand. A bright light surrounds her. She unleashes her magic. The giant is blasted back. Fiona pants there. She struggles to her feet. Ugh. I must have used too much magic. But this is nothing compared to what the boy is dealing with. A soldier asks Lady Fiona, are you all right? Fiona replies, I'm fine. More importantly, she pats the boy's face. Wake up. She thinks, when I looked at his face again, I suddenly remembered something. Ragged, mercenary-like clothes, black hair as dark as the night sky, beautiful, blue-gray eyes, and a handsome face that refused to be veiled by dirt and grime. I didn't recognize him because he's so young. Isn't this Siegren, the male lead of my story? Fiona is shocked. Isn't this Siegren, the male lead of my story? She's confused though, because there are still 6 years left until the actual story begins. Why did the male lead show up already? Is this when he meets Abel? Fiona panics internally. Wait, now is not the time for that. She realizes, if this boy is really the hero that will save this world, I can't let him die saving my life. Otherwise, it'll be the end of the world as we know it. Does that mean I'm doomed to die as the final boss, no matter what I do? Terrified, she shouts, as somebody, please get a physician. 2 days later, a doctor is examining Siegren, who's still unconscious. His injuries were quite severe, but luckily, he'll recover. Fiona's eyes widen. Really? The doctor bows. Please call if you need me. Fiona waves, relieved. Thank you. She sighs, what a relief. I've prevented the end of the world. Looking at the sleeping Siegren, she thinks it's kinda hard to believe that he's going to become a hero praised by all. Fiona wonders, I guess Siegren must be around 14 by now. She recalls the novel she wrote. I had only written a few simple sentences regarding Siegren's past. I didn't provide any explicit details in the original novel. She thinks, like most male protagonists, Siegren had a secret surrounding his birth. To be exact, he was the illegitimate child of the emperor. Siegren's mother was a powerless commoner. There were many people who thought of him as a thorn in their side and wanted him dead. Siegren feared for his life ever since he was a child. We see a flashback of an assassin looming over young Siegren. That's why his mother tried to flee to another country in an attempt to protect her son. Guards are searching for them, split up in groups to find them. Look for a young woman and a boy. Siegren's mother whispers, hide here, Siegren. Mommy will be fine. I'll come find you later. I love you, my son. She runs, drawing the guards away. Search the area. But tragically, she failed to escape. Dying, she reaches for her son. Siegren, you must. And that's how young Siegren was left all alone in this world. He cries, heartbroken. Siegren then fled north to Heylon. It was located at the far end of the empire, so he thought his pursuers wouldn't be able to find him there. There, he met Abel, who recognized Siegren's talent for swordsmanship and became his mentor. That was the tale of Siegren's childhood. It was only briefly mentioned to the female protagonist during the story, as it was just there for character development. The main character with a sad childhood is a pretty common trope in fantasy novels, after all. Fiona clenches her fists. However, if I think about how this kid actually experienced those events, it makes me feel. Fiona looks sadly at Siegren. It must have been so hard on you. I'm really sorry. I was planning to leave this place when the time comes, she thinks, but I should be nice to Siegren while I'm here, as my way of atonement. Plus, if he's gonna kill me at the end of the story, I should befriend him, just in case. She determines, I'll do my very best to take care of you, so be nice to me when you grow up. Please don't chop my head off. Fiona yawns. I've been up all night looking after him. I'm so tired. I'll just take a quick nap and decide what to do next when Siegren wakes up. Later, Fiona wakes up with a start. How long was I asleep? She feels a gaze. Huh? I feel like I'm being watched. Siegren is awake, staring at her. Oh, he's awake. Fiona smiles. Did you sleep well? Nice to meet you. Siegren is so handsome with his eyes wide open, but he looks like a wary kitten. Siegren glares. He asks, where am I? Fiona responds, you're in Heylon Castle. He asks, who are you? Fiona introduces herself. My name is Fiona. What's your name? He replies hesitantly as Siegren. Siegren asks, how am I still alive? Fiona thinks, doesn't he remember dodging that monster with me in his arms? Oh, he saved me instinctively, huh? As expected of the male lead. She tells him, I called for a physician and had you treated. Siegren is shocked. What? Fiona thinks, you can look surprised all you want, but I'm more worried about your health. He may be the male protagonist, but he's still a child. My fantasy of him turned out to be drastically different from reality. I feel incredibly guilty seeing Siegren hurt like this. Why did I have to give the male protagonist such a miserable backstory? Fiona reaches out to him. Do you have a fever? Siegren slaps her hand away. Don't touch me. Fiona insists, then tell me if you're feeling any pain. Siegren yells, mind your own business. I can take care of. She pokes his chest, and Siegren cries out af. Fiona giggles. She thinks, so much for a 14-year-old boy pretending to be Mr. Tough Guy. A sharp pain shooting through him. What was that for? He asks, confused. Fiona, ever the caregiver, reminds him gently, you're a patient with some serious injuries. If you feel any pain, you need to tell me immediately. But Siegren's wary. But I don't even know you. Why should I do that? And why are you doing this for a stranger like me? Fiona beams a bright smile. You saved my life too, remember? Siegren's taken aback. What do you mean? I never did anything like. Suddenly, Duke Abel Heylon bursts into the room, radiating pure protective dad energy. You're too young to be bringing men home, he shouts. Fiona tries to reason, but he's just a boy. Duke Abel isn't having it. It's the same thing. Fiona, ever perceptive, thinks he seems agitated, so I guess I shouldn't get on his nerves. Aloud, she asks, "What brings you here?" Duke Abel narrows his eyes. "I had business with this one here. I see a second little urchin has entered my home while I was gone." Fiona giggles. "The first urchin must be me then." She explains he was severely wounded, so I brought him here to be treated. Duke Abel studies Siegren. Where is he from? He doesn't appear to be anyone from my lands. Fiona realizes, come to think of it, I never put much thought into where Siegren was from while writing the story. Siegren answers, "I'm with the Carl mercenaries." Duke Abel raises an eyebrow. "You're a mercenary? Do mercenaries hire children like you these days?" Fiona can't help but snicker. "Funny to hear that from you." Duke Abel glares at them both. Fiona whispers to Siegren, "He's Duke Abel Heylon." "A duke, huh?" Siegren thinks, "Will he try to kill me too? Or maybe." Fiona pokes him playfully. Siegren snaps, "Knock it off." Fiona retorts, "I'm just trying to get you to loosen up." Siegren is having none of it. Still, knock it off. Fiona internally simps, "I can't help myself 'cause he's so cute." Duke Abel grabs Fiona, interrupting her thoughts. "You little brat. You're too young to be fooling around with boys." He lifts her up. Fiona cries out. Recently, Abel has taken to holding me in his arms. Two maids gush. They're like father and daughter. In fact, he does it so often that's what people have been saying about us. Then again, we both have silver hair, so I guess it makes sense. Fiona pleads, "Can we let him stay until he recovers?" Duke Abel is surprised. "This is the first time you've asked me for something." Fiona tilts her head. "Really? Well, I've never really felt the need to ask for anything, so." Duke Abel harumphs. "Though I don't like what you're requesting of me." "Very well. I'll prepare a room for him to stay in, but only until he gets better." Fiona is shocked. "Wow, you're even going to give him a room." Duke Abel shoots back, "Were you planning on sharing yours then?" Siegren blushes furiously. "Why you? How spoiled were you to be this clueless?" Fiona pouts, thinking, "We only just met, but he already hates me. And I'm not spoiled either." But Fiona thinks Siegren doesn't need to hear exactly how I got here. He just needs to grow up to become a fine young man, fall in love with the female protagonist, and save the world. As for me, Fiona claps her hands together. I plan to watch all this unfold like a parent watching their child grow. Fiona thanks Duke Abel. "Anyway, thank you. I'll work harder and make it up to you." Duke Abel assures her, "Don't worry, you're already doing more than enough." Fiona muses, "Come to think of it, his tone is the same, but he's become much gentler toward me. Though, I still can't tell if he likes me or not. At the very least, I don't think he's going to kick me out anymore." She sighs. Duke Abel asks, "What are you sighing about, child?" Fiona thinks everyone is so hard to please. Meanwhile, Siegren lies in bed, lost in his own dark thoughts. "You must survive, Siegren." He remembers his mother saying with her dying breath. He winces, haunted by the memory of his mother, Kalia, concerned for him until her dying breath. Siegren, she'd whispered, her bloody hand outstretched. "You must survive." Tears stream down young Siegren's face. Her last words pierce me like a curse. "Mama," he sobs, kneeling beside her lifeless body. Later, I arrived at a safer place, just as my mother wanted. So this must be the North, he thinks, gazing at the rowdy and noisy town. His stomach growls. Once I was out of immediate danger, I had to worry about finding food to eat. Luckily, I joined a band of mercenaries and took on menial jobs. Thanks to that, I didn't have to starve to death. "Hey kid, I told you to get over here," one of the mercenaries says, tapping him. "No," Siegren protests. "I have to mop the floors." The mercenary grabs him roughly. "Didn't you hear me, you little brat? After all I did to save you," Siegren cries. The mercenary shoves him, causing him to spill the bucket of water. "You should just do as I say, you ungrateful little thing." He recalls, "The mercenaries beat me for no reason, and my body became covered with scars. I have to survive." "But, you useless scum." He's at it again. "Just leave him." Siegren curls up, sobbing. "Why do I have to survive?" He recalls his past. "I was lonely. I thought it would be nice if there was at least someone in this world who needed me. What meaning does this wretched life of mine have?" Flashbacks reveal that after some time, the Carl mercenaries were hired to protect Heylon. Fighting demonic monsters was a dangerous task, but it paid well. He wasn't even given a proper weapon, so he had to improvise with someone else's sword that he picked up on the battlefield. But fighting for his life made him much stronger. He thinks after defatting a monster, I'm alive. Then, the inevitable happened. They're gaining on us. Everyone, retreat. Fall back. Fall back. But one soldier shouts, "What are you doing, you fool?" Well, if you're just gonna stand there, make yourself useful as a human shield. He pushes Siegren forward. Oh my god. You must survive, Siegren. The flashback shows him surrounded by enemies, swords clashing. He recalls, I tried my best to stay alive, but no matter how skilled I had become, it wasn't enough. The flashback ends with Siegren collapsed on the battlefield, sword falling from his hand. Is this finally the end? A part of me feels relieved. If there's one thing that I regret, it's that I'm dying because of that scumbag. If I was going to die for someone, I wanted it to be someone who was in a similar situation. I wanted to save someone who really needed my help and hold out my hand to aid the weak. He continues, no one helped me in my darkest hours, so I at least wanted to be there for someone else, just hoping that other people wouldn't have to live the same hell I went through wasn't enough for me. Though, maybe it's that way of thinking that got me in this situation. Still, I want to believe that my hopes were not in vain, and that somewhere in this world is a ray of light. If not, I want to be that light for someone. But I guess that's impossible now. Then, he feels someone patting him on the head. Their touch is so gentle that it makes him want to cry. Siegren blinks awake in a fancy room. Where am I? Huh. He sees Fiona asleep next to him. Hey, girl? He thinks that was the most peaceful scene I had seen in all my life. Later, the Fiona asks, how's your wound? Let's see how it's healing. But Siegren slaps her hand away. I told you not to touch me. Fiona pouts. Still. Fiona thinks, as the antagonist of the story, I guess I'm asking for too much. I've barely gotten to know him. All he's told me is his name. Fiona says, if it hurts anywhere, you have to tell the physician, even if you don't want to tell me, okay? Siegren is silent. You're strange, he finally says. Fiona asks, how so? She thinks he's looking at me like I'm a sea creature he's never seen before. Siegren asks, why are you so worried about me? Are you doing this because you pity me? I bet you think I'm like some cat or dog you picked up in the rain. Fiona replies, it's not like that. Fiona thinks Siegren must think I'm Abel's young relative or something. In other words, he's under the impression that I'm a sheltered, young noble lady who knows little about the real world. Is he annoyed because he has to depend on a girl like that? She said, I didn't bring you here because I pity you. Siegren asks, if it wasn't pity, then what was it? Fiona thinks, of course, a part of me had the shallow intent of wanting to be friends with him so that future events work out to my advantage. But as the author of this story, I also have nothing but affection for Siegren. She said with a smile, I just wanted to save you, that's all. He asked, huh? But you don't even know me. Why would you do that? Fiona replies, true, but I'm sure you felt like that towards someone before, right? He pauses. I've never felt that way before. He said, only spoiled little brats like you would have such mushy thoughts. Fiona internally scoffs. He really is trying to push my buttons, isn't he? I'll have you know, I also fought in the battlefield. She said, you know, I'm not some girl that just lives here. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door. It's the physician. Please come in. Oh, Mr. Physician, Fiona said. The physician said, it's nice to see you here again, Lady Fiona. The physician chuckles. You've already become good friends with him, I see. It must be because you're similar in age. You can go now, Siegren tells Fiona. She said, I want to see if your wounds are healing properly. He said, just try not to faint when you see the scars. She said, don't worry about that. Meanwhile, she thinks, I've already seen plenty of mutilated corpses in battle, after all. Siegren retorts, just get out. The bandages need to be replaced, and I can't do it with you here. Okay, fine. She agrees. Fiona thinks while standing outside the door, I guess he was embarrassed to undress in front of me. That's kinda cute, if you think about it. She heads out. I'll come back a little later. The physician asks Siegren, let's see, Siegren. Did you feel a lot of pain during the night? No, Siegren replies. I was fine. He shows the physician his scarred torso. Fiona stands outside the door, lost in thought. This is taking longer than I thought. I didn't think it would take this long to replace bandages. She's picturing Siegren's "you ignorant girl" stare. I wanted to pick up where I left off in our conversation and tell him, she thinks to herself. I work just as hard as everyone else here. Why does Siegren hate me so much anyway? She continues to ruminate. To be honest, I never thought much about Siegren's childhood personality. That's why it's really hard to figure him out. The novel was written from the point of view of the female protagonist, Eunice, and Siegren's role in that story was quite simple. He was handsome, devoted, and kind. He was the perfect lover who only had eyes for Eunice. I mean, anyone would dream of being loved by someone like that at least once in their lives, right? Someone who will always trust us and take our side no matter what. That's the kind of personality I imagine Siegren would have, so I'm at a loss right now. She mumbles, maybe it's because of my slightly selfish intentions. She continues in her thoughts. I wanted to become friends with him due to my guilt, affection, and a touch of calculated planning, but he thinks I'm being kind to him for no reason, which he finds suspicious. If I try to get too close, he might come to hate me even more, thus jeopardizing my future. Oh, Lady Fiona. The physician interrupts her thoughts as he opens the door. Is it over? Fiona looks up, startled. He said yes, but... She asks, is there a problem? He replied no, his wounds are healing nicely. However, is something the matter? Fiona asks, concerned. Physician told her. I heard he was working in a band of mercenaries. I'm not sure if it would be a good idea to send him back there after he recovers. Fiona's expression darkens as he continues. He won't talk about it, but his body is heavily covered with old scars. Suddenly, Fiona understands. Siegren, she cries, rushing past physician. She thinks it can't be. I had no idea it was this bad. What have I done? Meanwhile, back in his room, Siegren wonders, what is it? Fiona bursts into the room, calling out Siegren. Startled, Siegren exclaims, WH, what do you want? I'm sorry, but let me lift up your shirt for a second, Fiona says urgently. What? What sort of nonsense is that? He replies, flustered. Ignoring his protests, Fiona insists, I'm sorry, but I need to do this. She yanks at his shirt. If you're sorry, then stop it. Siegren yells. It'll only take a second, she mutters, fumbling with his clothes. As she touches his skin, Fiona realizes the extent of his injuries. I can feel bumps all over his skin, and some of the scars feel like carvings here and there. There are so many scars. The sight of Siegren's scarred torso shocks her. This is so much worse than I imagined. How did this happen? I told you to stop, Siegren yells, shoving her away. Fiona stumbles and falls to the floor. Siegren is clearly surprised by his own actions. I never meant for this to happen. Fiona rises, looking shaken. Jeez, are you filled with air or something? Siegren exclaims, trying to downplay the situation. You're as light as a feather. Tears well up in Fiona's eyes. Siegren's expression softens with concern. Are you hurt? He kneels beside her. Please stop crying and say something. Where are you hurt? Your shoulder? Your leg? No, let's call that old physician again and... Fiona grabs his arm, stopping him. WH, what is it? Siegren asks, looking anxious. Fine, Fiona whispers. I'm fine. I'm just... She thinks of the scars covering Siegren's chest, arms, and sides, as well as those purple bruises, were not just his battle scars. They were scars from being burned and beaten senselessly. They were formed through repeated acts of malice. Siegren, she asks, tears streaming down her face. Who gave you those scars? Siegren remains silent, his expression unreadable. Did the physician tell you? Is that why you tried to take off my shirt? To see these scars for yourself? He asks, his voice flat. Yes, Fiona replies softly. Come on, is that what you're crying about? This is why I told you to go outside, he said. He asked, what are you crying for? You wanted to see them. You really love doing things as you. Fiona suddenly hugs him tightly. Siegren reeks of disinfectant, she thinks. Right now, I feel bad about that too. It's my fault that he had to suffer for so long. It's because of that single sentence saying he had an unfortunate childhood. Those simple words created such an unforgiving, harsh reality. How did this happen? She wonders, still clinging to him. It's nothing, Siegren says quietly. He said, a lot of mercenaries are ruffians, and being the youngest and weakest, I was an easy target. Looking up at him, Fiona insists, Siegren, don't say it was nothing. Are you feeling sorry for me or something? He asks. She shakes her head slightly. It's not pity I'm feeling, it's guilt, Fiona thinks. Until now, I had never really known what it was like for Siegren, and what it was like to live in this world. I felt this way when I experienced the brutality of the battlefield for the first time. It had all felt so distant, like it was happening somewhere far away. Actually, it would be more accurate to say that I was trying to avoid it. But seeing his scars made me realize that all of this is real. I'm partly responsible for the violence Siegren suffered all this time. And here I was complaining about how hard it was to get close to him. I feel so ashamed of myself. From now on, I'll stay by Siegren's side and support him, even if he hates me. She takes his hand in hers, resolving, that's the least I can do to make up for all his irreparable scars. Fiona's determined. From now on, I'll stay by Siegren's side and support him. That's the least I can do to make up for all his irreparable scars. She kneels down, taking his hand. I'm sorry, Siegren. He's surprised. You're not apologizing for taking my shirt off, are you? No, it's not that. Fiona's eyes well up with tears. Siegren gently wipes away her tears. Don't cry. It's not like you were the one who got scarred. Why are you crying? She thinks he sounds grumpy, but his touch is gentle. Siegren really is a kind boy. She calls his name softly, Siegren. He asks, while she tilts his head, what is it this time? Fiona stares at him, determined. I should say it as if I'm putting him under a spell. She said, I will never hurt you. Her thoughts darken. I don't think Siegren's emotional scars will heal until he meets the female protagonist. I want to be there to protect him until then. I just hope he won't be so wary of me anymore. She smiles. That is my tiny wish. She beams at him, so let's be friends. Siegren pauses, caught off guard. You're crying one moment and laughing the next. He sighs, exasperated. He continues, honestly, you really love doing things as you please, don't you? Fiona thinks, I think he's starting to warm up to me. I promise I'll be a good friend to you. Since that incident, Siegren and Fiona have gotten quite close. I'm gonna share these treats with him. She looks forward to it. It might be my imagination, but he doesn't snap at me or tell me not to touch him like he used to. I'd say that's real progress. She thinks, since Siegren had been abused for a long period of time, it's only natural for him to have a negative reaction when being touched. Come to think of it, I think he was just trying to keep me away so I wouldn't see his scars. Fiona finds Siegren. Yeah, she states, oh, your wounds are going to get worse if you move around like this. I told you to stay in bed. He retorts, walking to the door is fine. My wounds are almost healed now anyway. She insists, well, you never know unless you're completely healed, really. As someone older than you, heed my advice. Siegren rolls his eyes. You keep saying that you're older than me, but how old are you exactly? Fiona pauses, flustered. She sits down thinking, I am physically a year younger than him. She said, I'm 13. Siegren's shocked. You're older than I thought. I figured you were 10. Fiona's offended. What? Even Abel says that I'm tiny all the time. Am I really that small? She thinks, but it's not my fault that I was often locked up in the attic and starved at an age when I needed nurturing. Siegren smiles at her. In any case, I'm a year older than you, she said. I bet I'm mentally older than you, though. Siegren scoffs. That's what you want to think. He asked, how is it that despite Duke Heylon's efforts to feed you, you don't grow vertically or horizontally? She laments, I know. She thinks, honestly, I'm pathetic when it comes to physical strength. That's why I can't use magic for extended periods of time. If magic was track and field, I'd be good at sprints, but terrible with long runs. She puts her head down. Don't worry. I'll grow eventually. Siegren smirks, eating a cookie. Sure, grow all you want. Fiona thinks, oh, Siegren. Now that you're recovering properly and seem super relaxed, you're glowing like ivory. I know I created you, but I can't wait to see you all grown up in a few years. Make sure to use your good looks when you meet the female protagonist. She stares at him intensely. Siegren's confused. Is there something on my face? She replied, no. He asked, then why are you staring at me? Fiona grins. Because you're handsome. Oh, but you need to remember to behave yourself when you start dating in a few years. She thinks, even if you're my male lead, I won't forgive you if you ever hurt the female protagonist. Siegren leans in, I gotta say, sometimes you really are. He pauses. Never mind. He pats her head. I don't know where you got the idea that you're mentally older than me. I mean, you're far more naive than I am. Fiona's indignant. That's not true. I'll have you know. Suddenly, Jaren bursts in. Lady Fiona. There is a giant wave of monsters advancing toward the second rampart. I'm afraid we will need the full extent of our forces right now. Fiona jumps up, alarmed. Okay, I'll be right there. Jaren thanks her. Siegren grabs her hand. What are you talking about? Why would you go there? Fiona's conflicted. Right, I haven't told Siegren that I'm a mage who has been fighting in this war. Fiona said, I'm an enlisted mage. My main job is to protect the second rampart. Siegren's grip tightened. Okay, so please let go of. Siegren murmurs, that's impossible. She asked confused, what is? Siegren shouts, how could you even say that? The second rampart is the most dangerous place of all. He continues, did you know that even mercenaries and knights who've spent their entire lives on the battlefield die the second they set foot there? So how can a little girl like you guard such a place? Then he turned towards Jaren. You must be out of your mind. Isn't this Heylon Castle, the stronghold of the north? Is there really no one else who can go and fight? He stood in front of Fiona, asked, is the situation so serious that a child like her must go? Jaren looks concerned, but he thinks, well. Fiona thinks, hey, what are you going to do if Jaren kicks you out? She shouts, Siegren. She understands why Siegren is mad. It's a part of Siegren's character, which she gave him, to seek justice. She thinks he feels bad that a little girl like her has to go to the battlefield. Siegren is shocked. What? I'm fine. Don't worry about it, Fiona reassures him. He's still not convinced. What? Aren't you even scared? Fiona replies, I have nowhere else to go but here. She said, I needed a place to stay and Heylon needed a mage. We're helping each other, so there's nothing to be mad about. She reflects, it's true. It was my decision to stay here. There's no reason to resent or criticize anyone for sending me to the battlefield. I needed a place to stay until I became old enough to take care of myself, and Heylon needed someone with strong magical powers. That's the only thing that matters. But Siegren doesn't think so. Then what about your family? Fiona explains, I'm an illegitimate child. My father and older siblings sent me here. They probably did it, hoping that I'd never return. She continues her thoughts. Siegren has had a similar experience, so he probably knows that being a child doesn't guarantee one's safety, and that one must pay a price in order to protect oneself. There is no such thing as unconditional kindness in this world. Siegren warns, you could die out there. Aren't you scared? With a serious expression, Fiona responds, if I die, that would mean I wasn't competent enough to survive. In any case, I'm here by choice, so don't worry about me. I'm perfectly fine. Siegren looks at her with a complicated expression and says, I'll see you later. But Fiona calls after him. Make sure not to move vigorously so your wounds don't reopen, and don't skip your meals, all right? Siegren, baffled, replies, what? He asks, why are you so worried about me anyway? Fiona replies, you're hurt. How could I not be worried? She leaves her room, closing the door behind him. He thinks to himself, oh. As Fiona closes the door, he thinks, come back soon. He is left alone in his room. Fiona stood outside the door, said Siegren. She suddenly remembers, oh right. I'm sorry for being late, Jaren. Duke Abel Heylon is there too. Fiona realizes Abel was here too? He must have overheard us. Oh, he looks mad. She thinks, it's probably because I was bickering with a boy when I should have been on my way. She says, I'm sorry I'm late. He sighs you. Never mind. I suppose now is not the time. Abel takes her up asking Fiona. Yes, she replies. Never leave my side when we get to the battlefield, he says. Fiona thinks, but he always keeps me close anyway. Why is he saying this to me now? She replies, yes, your grace. They walk together. That day, they safely defended the second rampart. Their peaceful days continued. Fiona thinks, as for myself and Siegren, subtle changes had begun to take place in our relationship. After he discovered I was a mage, Siegren stopped being mean or sarcastic to me. However, he would sometimes look at me with a confused expression in the middle of our conversations. Fiona thinks, do I look weird or something? His wounds also healed completely. Thus, there was no longer a reason for him to stay at Heylon Castle. Still, I didn't like the idea of sending him back to the fourth rampart, because the mercenaries that beat him would still be there. Fiona wonders, what should I do? A maid calls out, Lady Fiona. His Grace wants to see you in his office. Fiona wonders, does he have an errand for me? We always fight alongside each other in battle, but he still insists on keeping me by his side. It's probably because he doesn't trust me or finds me lacking. She knocks on a door. Abel's voice answers, "Come in." He's sitting at his desk, reading a document. Fiona asks, "Did you ask to see me, Your Grace?" Abel replies, "This may take a while, so take a seat first." "Fiona," Abel begins. Fiona thinks he's calling me by my name. That's unusual. Abel continues, "I heard from the physician that the boy you picked up is almost fully healed now." Fiona internally panics. He's not going to send him away already, is he? "But I haven't decided what to do about those mercenaries yet." She replies, yes. Abel says, "As you know, I'm not one to let strangers live in my castle." Fiona agrees, of course. Fiona thinks nervously. "Why is he smiling?" Abel says, "I'm curious to know whether you knew the boy's identity when you brought him here."